I want to talk about something that sounds almost too simple: water. Yes, good old H2O, the stuff we've been drinking our entire lives. We always hear that having a glass of water first thing in the morning is a fantastic habit, and in many ways, it really is. But what I've noticed, and what a lot of people don't talk about, is that our bodies change as we get older. The morning routine that felt perfect in your 30s or 40s can become a little trickier in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. That same glass of water you used to gulp down without a second thought might not sit so well anymore. You might even wonder, am I just overthinking this? It's just water, right? But the truth is, your body operates differently now. Your heart, your digestion, your muscles, they've all been working hard for many decades, and they have their own rhythms and signals that deserve our attention. The morning is a delicate time for your body. When you open your eyes, there's a whole internal process going on. Your hormones are shifting gears, your blood pressure is getting itself regulated, and your stomach is basically rubbing the sleep out of its eyes. If we handle that transition with a bit of awareness and care, we can avoid small mishaps that can make a big difference in how we feel for the rest of the day. So I'd like to walk you through a few mistakes people often make when drinking water first thing in the morning. It's not that these are sinister or catastrophic errors, but they can throw your body off balance in subtle ways that might lead to discomfort, fogginess, or unexpected fatigue. And you might not even realize why that's happening. Before we get into the specifics, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. I always find it fascinating how we're all connected in this big world, yet we're often dealing with the same everyday challenges. Feel free to share your city or state, and if you happen to enjoy tips like these, a quick thumbs up or a subscription goes a long way. I'm grateful for every bit of support because it helps me keep sharing simple health insights that can make a difference. A common habit a lot of people have is grabbing ice-cold water from the fridge first thing in the morning. Maybe you're like me and you used to think, wow, that's refreshing, or you even believed it would help wake you up faster. It's true that icy water can give you a jolt, but let's look at what's going on under the surface. When we sleep, our bodies go into a relaxed, restorative state. Our digestion slows, our blood vessels might constrict a bit, and essentially every system in our body is on low power mode. Then we wake up, and instead of gently easing our system back to full speed, we toss in a shock of freezing water. That can cause the muscles in your stomach to tense up and make your blood vessels tighten even more. Younger folks might shake that off easily, but as we get older, our circulation and metabolism aren't as quick to adapt, so that chilled water can create a wave of discomfort. You might get a little cramp in your stomach, feel a chill run through your chest, or even sense some dizziness. It's easy to ignore it or blame something else, but it could simply be the temperature of the water catching you off guard. I know a wonderful lady named Eleanor. She's 76 years old, sharp as a tack, and until recently she swore by her habit of grabbing a glass of ice water the moment her feet touched the floor. She thought it helped clear her throat and give her a spark of energy. But then she started noticing her stomach twisting into knots and her hands feeling unusually cold afterwards. It wasn't until her doctor casually mentioned trying room temperature water that she considered making a change. Believe it or not, just letting the water warm up a bit, or even using lukewarm water, made all the difference for her. She felt calmer, and she said her digestion felt a lot more settled. That's a pretty small change for such a big improvement, and it really highlights how our bodies need a little more TLC as the years roll on. Another thing that often flies under the radar is how quickly people drink their water in the morning. Maybe you're eager to feel hydrated, or perhaps your mouth feels super dry when you first wake up, so you just chug down a big glass in one go. That might sound harmless, but consider what your body's doing at that moment. Your heart rate is slowly increasing. Your blood pressure is adjusting from a relaxed, lying down state, and your stomach is not quite ready to handle a rapid influx of liquid. Gulping water too fast can lead to bloating, nausea, or even that lightheaded feeling. It can also prompt your kidneys to jump into overdrive trying to handle that sudden flush of fluid, and your electrolyte levels might shift more abruptly than they should. If your body is more sensitive due to age or health conditions, this can leave you feeling off for hours. I want to share an example from a gentleman named Walter, who is 72. He's a retired coach, and for years he'd set a water bottle by his bed so he could down the whole thing before he even stood up. He figured he was being extra healthy, but every so often he'd get up and feel dizzy. At first, he chalked it up to who knows what. Maybe he got up too fast, or maybe he needed more sleep. Then he discovered that it could just be the speed and the sheer amount of water he was taking in at once. His doctor suggested sipping water slowly over 15 to 20 minutes instead of pounding it down in 30 seconds, and like magic, his dizziness vanished. Sometimes the simplest changes can have the biggest impact. Speaking of water bottles, have you ever woken up and realized you still have that old plastic bottle you were sipping from last night? You might think, no big deal, and just go ahead and drink from it again. But plastic isn't always your friend, especially if that bottle's been sitting out in a warm or room temperature environment all night. Some plastics can leach chemicals like BPA or similar compounds into the water, and these substances can act as endocrine disruptors, messing with your body's natural hormone balance. That can mean fatigue, mood swings, bloating symptoms that are so subtle that you might not connect them to your trusty bedside water bottle. And as we get older, even small disturbances in hormone or chemical balance can be enough to throw us off. Over time, those daily exposures might add up to something more noticeable. A man named Stanley, who's 78, was always proud of how well he stayed hydrated. He'd fill a plastic bottle before bed, keep it next to a lamp, which created a bit of extra warmth, and sip from it in the morning. He started experiencing headaches and a sluggish feeling that he couldn't shake. He tried changing his diet, sleeping more, exercising differently. Nothing helped much. Eventually, a nutritionist pointed out that his plastic bottle habit could be the culprit. He switched to a glass bottle and refilled it with fresh water each morning. Within a few weeks, his headaches lessened, and his energy started improving. It's amazing how such a small tweak in our routine can have ripple effects on our well-being. Now, you may have heard, or even been told, always take your medication with a full glass of water. While that's generally good advice, the details matter. If you wake up and immediately swallow several pills with a large amount of water on a completely empty stomach, you might end up feeling queasy or bloated. That wave of fluid, combined with medication, can irritate the lining of your stomach, especially if you already deal with acid reflux or a sensitive digestive system. On the other hand, if your medication is supposed to be taken on an empty stomach but you're washing it down with a ton of water right after you've eaten a big breakfast, that might affect how your body absorbs the medication. Sometimes, the instructions on a prescription bottle are minimal, and we end up winging it, not realizing that we're throwing our system off balance. Margaret, who's 80, had been on the same thyroid medication for years. She faithfully swallowed it with a glass of water every single morning. Over time, she started experiencing mild nausea, and it gradually got worse. Blood tests were normal, and she couldn't think of anything in her diet that had changed. After a little digging, her doctor realized she was guzzling too much water too quickly with her pills. By simply reducing the amount of water to just enough to swallow comfortably and then waiting about 45 minutes before having breakfast, her nausea vanished. Even her follow-up thyroid tests looked a bit better. Small adjustments can make a world of difference when it comes to how your body works with medication. Another thing I see more often these days is the idea of skipping breakfast altogether and just drinking water. There's a wave of people talking about intermittent fasting or minimalist morning routines, and it can be tempting to think, well, if I just drink water, I'm letting my body burn fat or detox or do something healthy. But the truth is, as we age, our bodies usually need some form of nourishment in the morning. After being asleep for 7, 8, or even 9 hours, your blood sugar is lower. Your muscles might feel stiff, and your brain is hungry for fuel. Water is great, but it doesn't provide the nutrients or the energy your body needs to get moving and thinking clearly. If you're skipping breakfast entirely, you might find yourself feeling groggy, shaky, or moody as the morning goes on. You might blame it on stress or a poor night's sleep, but it could simply be that you haven't fed your system enough calories or nutrients to keep it running smoothly. Alice, who's 69, decided she wanted to simplify her life. She'd been reading articles about how some people lose weight or feel lighter if they skip breakfast and only drink water until lunchtime. And sure, she initially felt a bit of energy, probably because she was excited about her new routine. But after a couple of weeks, her family started noticing she seemed a little scatterbrained. She was misplacing things, forgetting parts of conversations, and feeling more tired than usual by mid-morning. A checkup showed she was healthy in general, so she tried going back to eating a modest breakfast, just a boiled egg, some fruit, maybe a piece of toast. Almost immediately, she felt more alert, her mood improved, and her days seemed less heavy. That small addition of real food in the morning was exactly what her body was craving. I want to emphasize that none of these mistakes make you a bad water drinker, and there's no reason to beat yourself up if you see a bit of your own habits in these stories. The point is that, as we collect more life experience, our bodies collect wear and tear in different ways, and they also collect wisdom. Our systems become more finely tuned, and the little signals we get from our stomach, our head, or our energy level are meaningful. They're not just random annoyances. Maybe the reason you feel a bit dizzy some mornings is just because you're drinking water too fast. Maybe those headaches that flare up from time to time have a link to the container you're using. Or maybe the uneasy feeling you get after taking your pills is tied to how much water you're consuming, or whether you're pairing it with food at the wrong time. It all comes down to listening to your body. We often brush aside small signals because we assume they're part of getting older or part of a random health quirk. But think about it this way. Your body has carried you through your childhood, through your teen years, through the hustle and bustle of adulthood, raising families, working jobs, dealing with all sorts of stress and joy. Now that you're in your golden years, it's worth giving your body a little extra kindness. If that means setting your water out the night before so it's room temperature when you wake up, go for it. If it means taking an extra few minutes to sip your water slowly instead of chugging it all at once, that's worth trying. If it means upgrading from a plastic bottle to a glass or stainless steel one, you might be surprised at the difference it makes. And if it means making sure you eat at least a small handful of something healthy in the morning, listen to that signal and give your body the fuel it needs. I realize that some of us have medical conditions or take medications that have very strict guidelines. I'm not a doctor, and every person's situation is unique. It's always a good idea to talk to a healthcare professional if something feels seriously off. But when it comes to daily habits, especially ones as simple as how you drink your water, you have a lot of power to make gentle tweaks that can significantly improve your comfort and well-being. There's something really special about embracing where you are in life and taking care of yourself in ways that truly resonate with your current needs. Drinking water in the morning might not sound like a big deal, but it can set the tone for your entire day. When you do it mindfully at a comfortable temperature, at a relaxed pace, with a proper container, and paired, if needed, with a little nourishment, you're sending a signal to your body that you're ready to treat it well, that you're not in a rush, and that you respect the wisdom it's gained over the years. I hope something in this conversation strikes a chord with you. Maybe you'll walk away curious enough to experiment tomorrow. Instead of that icy cold water, you could try lukewarm or at least room temperature water and see if your stomach thanks you. Or if you have a habit of downing a big glass in one breath, you might set a timer and stretch that out over 15 minutes, noticing how your body responds. If you've got plastic bottles piling up, maybe you'll treat yourself to a new, reusable glass or stainless steel bottle that's kinder to both your body and the environment. And if you've been skipping breakfast, consider offering yourself even a small snack yogurt, a piece of fruit, some nuts, or half a sandwich just to see if that stabilizes your energy in a positive way. I love sharing these tips because they seem so simple, yet they can be truly transformative. Remember that it's about discovering what works best for your unique body. Nobody else has lived in it as long as you have. Nobody else knows exactly how your digestion feels or how your energy fluctuates throughout the day. So be patient, be gentle, and be willing to try minor tweaks. If you find something that helps, that's wonderful. If not, you haven't lost anything. You've just learned a bit more about what your body likes or doesn't like. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you enjoyed this and want to keep exploring ways to make your daily routine more comfortable and nourishing, feel free to stick around, subscribe, or follow along. And if you know someone who might benefit from hearing these thoughts, perhaps a friend, a neighbor, or a loved one, go ahead and share this conversation with them. We often don't realize how common these little issues can be until we start talking about them. You matter, and your well-being matters. Stay kind to yourself, stay curious, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon.